Assalamualaikum guys. I was looking at the misconception about Islamic banking. So the first misconception was about the fact that Islamic banking was said to offer Islamic loan, but now they charge profit instead of interest. So the Islamic loan is now halal or Sharia compliant because it does not charge interest but profit. So this kind of misunderstanding need to be removed, and we need to educate the general public so that they would not associate Islamic banking with Islamic loan as what they saw in conventional banking. So they need to be informed that Islamic banking is based on al-bay'. But to explain al-bay' to the layperson can be very difficult because, buy and sell, buying house, buying property, buying land, buying machinery, equipment. So they can have they can feel strange why a bank would now go into buy and sell, and how that can be described. How can we describe buy and sell to the layperson, when banking is involved. So Islamic loan can be a good way to understand because they are used to that term, all their life. But now, when we want to introduce al-bay' or sale, then that would be a tough agenda to do. So what happened today, that al-bay' has been introduced to the public, not in the form of the concept of al-bay' or the philosophy of buy and sell, but it has been introduced as an aqad, right? So what has happened here is that the general public or the layperson seems to believe that Islamic banking is associated with the aqad alone. Right? Islamic banking is based on the aqad, and once the aqad is mentioned, then people would say that this is halal, this is Sharia compliant, because the term aqad has always been associated with the munakahat, that is nikah and marriage, solemnization of the nikah, where the aqad, of marriage would be undertaken. And therefore the aqad in nikah will always be a positive, positive or a celebrated occasion. And so aqad is a positive term to use. And when we see aqad in the mu'amalat, then it tends to have the same impact. So this aqad terminology has a mystical or religious impact that will make the Islamic banking to be something acceptable because it is based on an aqad, right? So layperson always pointed to the aqad or contract as the essence of halal in Islamic banking. As the Quran has prescribed al-bay' over riba, thus the aqad of al-bay' must be valid. It must be sahih. Yes, this is true that when we try to introduce the conception of al-bay' to the layperson, in Islamic financial literacy, so we need to educate the general public what al-bay' is. But the aqad seems to be that catchy approach, to help them embrace better understanding of Islamic banking. But to be fair to Islam and the Sharia, we must try not to be very dependent on the using of aqad alone to elucidate or to make the concept of al-bay' understandable to the general public. So we must try to explain in more detail what the aqad is, but it must be the aqad of sale, the aqad of al-bay', not simply aqad alone. It must be aqad of al-bay' where in the Aqad of Al-Bay, we have buyer and seller, we have the price, we have the objects, and we have the ijab and qabul. So that need to be, further watered down to the layperson so that they can understand that we are dealing with the Aqad of buy and sell, the Aqad of sale. But what is a sale? That is another issue. But it will not be a surprise that the public may not have a clear idea what the concept of al-bay' is. When the word Aqad is mentioned. So when the word of Aqad is mentioned, most will put their faith on the Aqad to imply that the Islamic banking is halal, so it is Sharia compliant. Sorry. So to clear such misunderstanding that the Islamic banking is based on the Aqad alone, it must be emphasized that, number one, that in al-bay', al-bay' is not about the Aqad alone. Al-bay' is about morality, and morality is evidence when profit is earned by risking our capital in the earning of profit. That al-bay' is not Aqad alone. Al-bay' is the investment of capital, where capital is subjected to appreciation and depreciation based on the market forces, right? So if the making of profit is without risk-taking, like in riba, that is immorality. So al-bay' is morality, al-bay' is ethical. So al-bay' is not just Aqad, but it must transcend beyond Aqad. Number two, in al-bay', price is set by the market forces. The price that is acceptable to the buyer and the seller is set by the market forces. So there is no coercion in al-bay', there is no monopoly in al-bay'. But we have clearly seen that there is coercion, there is organized coercion in tawarruk, which I have explained a lot in the previous video. So al-bay' is not just about al-Aqad. It is an Aqad where the price is determined by the forces of demand and supply, and for that reason the trader cannot sell above the market price because nobody will buy from him, and if he sells below market price, then he will make losses and surely get into bankruptcy. So in al-bay', price is set by the market forces, and this is very important because the current use of tawarruk has defied the market forces, because the price of the price in the master sale agreement has been set in the master purchase agreement. So that is not based on market forces, but that is based on coercion. So that is not good at all for Islamic banking. Number three, al-bay' is about production and value addition. That is economic growth. It is not about sitting on money to earn more money. So al-bay' is the conversion of output, is the conversion of input into output. Al-bay' is the mobilization of capital and labor in order to produce goods and services, which is economic growth, right? So al-bay' is not about speculation, and it's not about making money by sitting on money, as what we saw in riba. So al-bay' is real sector economic production, and it is something positive. It is not simply about Aqad, it is more than Aqad. And finally, al-bay' is about entrepreneurship, that is the taking of risk in the hope for profit. Of course, in general, al-bay' is dealing with risk-taking and risk-sharing, meaning that we are taking risk in the capital market, in the money market, in the equity market, in venture capital, in mutual fund. So we take risk in order to make money. But in entrepreneurship, it is a much more specialized, platform where the entrepreneur or the merchant or the entrepreneur would be investing his own money in the business, and where he will managing the business in order to make profit, and he or she will also be risking his or her capital in order to make profit. So al-bay' is not just about akad, it is about entrepreneurship. So we must be able to remove this misconception that Islamic banking is okay, it is Shariah compliant because it is based on akad. No, the akad must be further elaborated to instill the meaning of al-bay', because what is meant by akad is that it is based on an aqad of sale. So the sale, the conception of sale must be emphasized. It must be made known to the layperson so that he can understand, yes, it is based on aqad, but it is based on the aqad of sale, where there will involve the buyer and the seller, the price, the subject matter, and the ijab kabul. That is something that is broader than what is meant by a simple mentioning of aqad. Right, but okay, so that's it for today. I'll see you again, inshallah. Please don't forget to comment and subscribe. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah.